Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast
with your host, the 2023 IBWAA Podcast Host of the Year, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Time again for the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. We're happy to be knee-deep in the baseball season now. Lots already happening and a ton to talk about. In fact, last week we were so excited about starting the season. We didn't even talk about some of the stuff that happened, especially with the Dodgers in the offseason. So we got to pick that up because there are some things. Maybe there's some names you heard us mention that you didn't know were now Dodgers. You probably do, but and then there's a few things that we about the Angels as well. And a couple other things. I think that something that, Jana, you started last week will probably come back again this week.
Yes, it will.
And more. Remember, you can find us on our social media at SiblingRivalryBB on Twitter without the A.
And on Instagram and Facebook at SiblingRivalryBB with the A.
And of course, our website is up at SiblingRivalryBB.com. So this week we'll start off with the Angels. Just one series to chat about with them, but big things so far in this short or this early season for the Angels. Lots of silver linings for the Angels these days. Bright, fluffy, nice clouds. If that, it's a beautiful day for the Angels as they have right now, as of time of recording, they're just finishing up their series with Tampa Bay at George Steinbrenner Field. So some of those guys on the Angels really never played that much in the minors.
It's true.
And unless any of them were ever on a East Coast team, most of them are that way. If they've never had spring training in Florida, they've never played at Steinbrenner Field. And then, like I said, some of these guys barely had a couple of games in AA before they were called up. And now they're playing. So it's their first time playing in a AAA stadium. So we'll talk a little bit about that next week with Tampa Bay. Although I will say, in one of the games, Kenley Jansen, he got his 450th save. So that's pretty cool. And he's been a great addition to the Angels and helping with the staff there. Angels did something they haven't done since 2018. They've won 3 series to start the season.
Nice.
I mean, after that opening day blowout by the White Sox in the baddest part of town, they came back and won both of those.
Mm-hmm.
Went to St. Louis and almost swept. They lost the last game of those 3. And then last time we had this, they were playing at home, getting ready to play Cleveland, and Cleveland started out strong, took game number 1 of the series, but the Angels didn't back down. They didn't roll over after the first game, which was 8-6. You kind of thought, okay, is this, are we back to normal here? But nope, we're not. Or hopefully for the Angels, this is the new normal.
Yeah, hopefully. So even in the 8-6 loss with the Angels, they scored in the first, they scored in the third, and then they added 2 in the ninth. It wasn't enough. However, it's Mike Trout hit a home run, and we have to mention a home run by Logan O'Hoppe, which we'll see what happens in this series. But I think even in the loss, it wasn't a bad game. I mean, when you have J-Ram, Jose Ramirez, who hit 3 home runs, his 26th career multi-homer game, tying the Cleveland franchise record with the likes of Albert Bell and Jim Thome, what do you do? It was also his second career 3 home run game. So, I mean, it was his night.
Yeah. Yeah, it was overall the Angels pitching has been the star of the show. The bats had been hit or miss. We talked about Kyron Paris. Now you bring up Logan O'Hoppe, and we'll talk about him a little bit, here in a second. But yeah, it was. They didn't roll over. They, they scored in the first, scored 3 to take a lead, and then, gave up the lead for a little bit, and then they just weren't able to make it completely back in that game. Like you're saying, game number 2 though, that changed. And I had said that to myself, and then I think I texted you later. The Angels, I just thought the Angels really need a blowout win. They've been playing really close games, but I thought just for a confidence builder, they need a blowout. And game 2 ended up being that with 10 runs, 7 coming just in the 5th inning of that game. And they end up taking the Guardians 10-4 in that one.
Yes, and Mike Trout and Logan O'Hoppe both had home runs. Luis Rengifo also joined in on that.
Yes, he didn't want to feel left out.
No.
Actually, he kind of started it all.
Yeah.
And then Mike Trout, and then Logan O'Hoppe. And we mentioned last week that Logan O'Hoppe, I said something that was correct, but incorrect at the same time.
Okay.
Logan O'Hoppe and Benji Molina aren't the only Angels catchers with grand slams. They're the only catchers with multiple grand slams.
Yeah.
So, it was Jack Kahanowitz on the mound, picks up his first win of the season, gives up just 2 runs. Still not many strikeouts, and that's something that if you go back and you look, they've not had a lot of strikeouts so far this season.
No.
They've been able to pitch and get ground balls and get the other team out without a lot of strikeouts, which is fine. When they do get strikeouts, that's a bonus if they can keep them from if they're just putting the ball in play. Kahanowitz with only 4 strikeouts there, and then that would do it. They'd like you said, overall great offensive game for them that helped give them a little more confidence as they're going. And then Tim Anderson, who's been playing on and off here with a double, that I believe that scored. He had 2 RBIs, and I think they came off of that double. So, good things are happening. Although when mistakes are being made, the Angels faithful are so used to things just falling apart that they're complaining about every little thing. So, and then finally, the wrap up of this series, daytime matchup, since it was a Sunday game before the Angels headed out to Tampa. This one 6-2, and another good game, and joining Jorge Soler, Kyron Paris with home runs.
Logan O'Hoppe.
Yes.
With another home run. And he made history in the Angels history because he homered in 4 straight games, which
and
you would think
5 on the season.
Yeah.
4 in consecutive games.
Right. I mean, I guess, you think about who's played for the Angels. Hasn't somebody done that? But nope.
Yeah, you think.
I mean, they have done it now, Logan O'Hoppe.
Right. Yeah. No, you would think Trout, Vladdy Guerrero.
Right.
So many different guys. Reggie Jackson was there. That's it's interesting that that's never happened before. So anyway, This is good though.
Yes.
But there's something I'm thinking about, and I want to save it for the Dodgers. But
Okay.
It applies here as well, and it's about early season. And I will bring that up. Tyler Anderson Doesn't get a decision in this, but does pitch better than he has, bringing his ERA down to 4.5. Just gave up 2 runs, struck out 5, walked 4. But this was a much better outing for him than what we've seen in previous games. Still not a quality start yet for him, and of course, the question that a lot of people are asking is, why is Kyron Paris sitting on the bench most of the time? Being pulled in for, as a replacement, or that he does start this final game, goes 2 for 4. He's got a 444 batting average, had a home run in the game. Why isn't he playing every day and letting somebody else sit that's not hitting or playing as well? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, so Angels in Tampa Bay looking to win potentially their 4th series. And so we'll talk about that next week if they get that. Then they're heading off to Houston and for 3, and then up to Arlington for 3 more before they come home to play the Giants for their 2nd interleague matchup of the season. Do you have a player of the week?
Yes, Mr. Logan O'Hoppe.
Who else could it be?
I don't know. I think that was a given.
Yep. Batting .345 on the season as of that game. And he's, like I said, 4 home runs in 4 games, 5 on the season. So, yeah, he knew none other than Logan O'Hoppe. There's no other choice this week. Just like last week would have been Kyron Paris.
Right, yeah.
And see, this is one thing before we move on. How Kyron Paris has come out of the gate, wanting to be there and showing what he can do is what everybody expected from Joe Adell. And
exactly.
How many seasons are we into Joe Adell that Joe Adell is now he's just a serviceable player that all it's going to take is for somebody to come up that's just hungrier to be the center fielder for the team. And you might see him someplace else. He's just, he's average, which isn't bad. I don't know what his, I haven't looked to see what his numbers are completely, but he's average. And the Angels need more above average.
Yeah, they do.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, you've got Zach Neto, who is in Salt Lake, doing rehab there. Has a little ways to go because he's got some things he needs to, targets he needs to hit, and he hasn't hit those targets yet, but so far has looked good. And just as an aside, Baseballism, which is one of our favorite baseball, to get unique shirts and other, hats and things like that. Baseballism and the Salt Lake Bees, the AAA affiliate of the Angels, are going to have the first of its kind pop-up shop with exclusive merchandise for the whole season. So if you live in the Salt Lake Valley, you live in Utah, whatever, and you go to a Salt Lake Bees game, you might be able to find some cool merch at the pop-up.
Oh, very cool.
As a collaboration.
And then one final thing. The mayor of Anaheim wrote an open letter to Artie and the Angels saying, I want to work with you, but I don't want to play any games. Let's get to it. And then, but the biggest thing she wrote that, really may be a sticking point for Artie. I'm not sure yet, but she said, if we're going to go down this path and you're going to stay here in Anaheim, which we want you to do, you need to make Anaheim a more prominent part of the team.
Yes.
And I think a lot of us feel that way. At one point, the Los Angeles Angels worked because they did play in Los Angeles. But that ship has sailed, and the California Angels were fine, but grabbing the identity of the Anaheim Angels, two things. I remember when talking to somebody, if you're the Anaheim Angels, that's put you at the top of the alphabetical list. So the first team listed every time.
Every time.
The Angels. Anaheim Angels. And, it's like, why don't you see that? I know you think you want to compete with LA, and you at the time he did it, or the Angels decided that move, or already decided that move, it made a little bit of sense because Frank McCourt was the owner of the Dodgers.
Right.
And people were like giving away their tickets to protest him being there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the weird thing is that the Dodgers were actually winning at the time. The winning streak that they're on now did not start under Guggenheim.
Right.
It started under Frank McCourt. But he was just a terrible owner. He still owns the parking lot. So that's why parking went up. If you just drive up, it's like $40. And then that means that if you've got an oversized vehicle, so you're out traveling across the country this summer in your RV and you go to Dodger game, it's going to cost you $60 to park there.
Yeah.
So prepay your parking. It'll save you something. Maybe not a lot, but more. Not enough to get a Dodger dog, but something.
But something.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
All right, last week we talked about the Dodgers. The Dodgers were what, like 8-0 or something like that, 7-0.
Yeah, 8-0.
8-0.
I think it was an 8-0.
Yeah, and we just you were so excited about Dodger baseball that we just got right in there and got excited, and some. With good reason. It's like, hey, this is pretty cool. And this team, everybody I saw, all the standard talking heads talking about baseball. There's on the FanDuel network, there's a show called Foul Territory.
Okay.
And
I think I've heard of that.
I watched that for a little bit, and so they were talking to Ken Rosenthal. They were talking about, surprisingly, they were talking about the National League West, and they were like, wow, and he goes. And they said something about the Drags and, where they're at and everything, playing well. And then a surprise with the Giants. But every time he said that, the Dodgers at that time, two of those teams were undefeated, the Drags and the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. And the Giants had one loss.
Yeah.
And he just kept saying, and I've heard this a lot, especially during that time. Well, the Dodgers are the Dodgers. We don't need to talk about why they're where they're at because they're the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So now, after a couple of things happening in Philadelphia, there's the topics on radio are, if the Dodgers don't win the World Series again this year, how will you feel about them? And it's changed since then to I can't remember the last time the Dodgers lost a series. And I guess you gotta get cut every once in a while so you bleed and you feel pain. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are we already at this that
it's crazy the amount. Like, if they don't go to the World Series, I mean, if you're a true fan of any team, aren't you still going to be a fan of that team regardless? Like a true fan, not a bandwagon fan, which it sounds like there are quite a few in Dodgerland and other franchises.
Mm-hmm.
You just move on, right? You go to the next season.
Right.
But
well, that's what you think.
But before we get to the road trip, just really quickly, while we were recording last week, at the time of recording, the Dodgers were playing their last game versus the Braves, and Shohei Ohtani bobble night, and I think bobblehead night, right?
I was going to say, what did he
bobble
the
night?
ball? He's
he
not,
just
he's not
bobbles.
playing in the field. So.
Yeah, bobblehead night. The game is at 7:10, and people were starting to line up outside of Dodger Stadium at 8 o'clock in the morning for this bobblehead. And the Dodgers looked like they were going to give this game away to the Braves. They had.
Well, hold on a second. Since you brought up everybody lining up out there
Oh, yeah.
like that, most of those fans that lined up out there that early in the morning were all mad.
Oh, really?
Yes. Did you not hear?
I didn't hear.
They
I
were
was
mad
reveling.
because right or close to game time, the Dodgers announced that they were going to ensure that every single fan at the game got a bobblehead, not just the first 40,000, but everybody.
Oh,
so all
yeah.
those people who were out at the out there early,
Oh,
just
man. We're out
lost
there
the day.
early. Yeah.
We're just out there early in the sun. And
Well, I mean, I could see where you're upset, but at the same time, what if you hadn't been in the line that early? They wouldn't have given it away to everybody, right?
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
You don't want to take that chance, but
yeah, you don't want to take the chance. I mean, as much as it'd be cool to have a, Shohei Ohtani bobblehead, I'm not lining up at 8
I have
o'clock
one.
in the. Oh, yes.
I have
You
an
do.
Angels
Right.
Shohei Ohtani bobblehead.
Yes, you do. But in this game, it's Dodgers look like they were going to give it away to the Braves. They had 3 errors in this game. By the second inning, the Braves were up by 5. Dodgers end up scoring 2 in the second, 1 in the fourth, and then they scored another 2 in the 8th. And then, of course, because it's tied, it's bobblehead night. Shohei Ohtani. Now, according to everyone, Tommy Edman, everyone in the dugout, Tommy Edman said this, Blake Snell said this. Oh, yeah. We knew he was going to hit a home run. We knew it was going to be a walk-off. We just knew it. It was a time, when was he going to do it? And, of course, he's going to save it to be a walk-off, because that's, I'm sure, was his mindset. And so he hit a walk-off home run to win the game, sweeping the Braves and keeping their undefeated record. Then everyone's happy.
You could also look at it and say
keeping the Braves undefeated.
The Braves winless.
Yeah, winless. Keeping the Braves defeated, not undefeated.
Right, there you go.
So they start this road trip, and they start in Philadelphia. And I think this road trip was overshadowed by what was going to happen in Washington. And we talked about it last week, but yeah, I mean, the Dodgers play against the Phillies. Always a good matchup. The Phillies have a good team, but who knew that Jesus Luzardo was going to be so good on the mound? 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, only 2 walks and 8 strikeouts. Yamamoto didn't look bad. He pitched 6 innings. He gave up 1 run and had 5 Ks, had the 3 walks. It was Kirby Yates who came in with who pitched 2 innings, and he gave up 2 hits and 2 runs, and that was it. The Dodgers lose 3-2, but you're thinking, okay, they lose their first game, get it out of the way. It's fine. They reset. Dodgers had 5 hits in this game and only 2 runs. Go to the next night, and the Dodgers do reset. And it's also the return of Roki Sasaki, who had a disastrous, start. And all those, who else did Jonathan Lucroy came out, Eric Hosmer like, coming out about him. So I guess one thing about being a starting pitcher is you get a redo every time you're back up. So a lot of people, I think, were watching this game to see how he did. He did pitch 4 innings. I think that was by design. I think I think they're slowly ramping him up, obviously, too, because he only pitched, an inning and 2/3 his last outing. He had 3 hits, gave up 3 hits, 1 run, had 2 walks, but 4 strikeouts. So I think for him to come back out, he was visibly upset at his last start. For him to come back out, he's young, and especially in a park he's never pitched in, he does a decent job, and the Dodgers help him out and win the game 3-1. Kike Hernandez had a home run. Michael Conforto had a home run. Dodgers had 7 hits and 3 runs in this game. And that was one thing that I think as I've been going through, I'll mention, just because, this is a win, but if you see in these games in their road trip, offensively, their production has not been great. This is a little bit better, but they still only got 7 hits.
I heard Rick Monday say something about like 15 opportunities with runners in scoring position, whereas the opposition's had like 40. So it's not even that they're not getting people in. They're not even getting people in scoring position. So,
right.
They're getting a home run here or there. That's great, but they're not putting people on base. And a lot of that's coming from the bottom of the orders, not doing anything.
Well, and that's the thing is you have Shohei as the leadoff. And so he needs to have somebody in the bottom of the order that's a stronger hitter, I think. But usually
right.
you have, Pages, or if Barnes has been playing, and he's hit or miss. I guess pun there. But
well, last time I saw, he was like 0 for 10 on the season.
Yeah. And he's so, if he is number 9 and then here comes Shohei, well,
but even then, unless he's leading off, that's one thing. But, Muncie's not getting on.
No.
Pages hasn't been getting on.
Right.
Kike is, he's a great player. He's fun to be out there, but, and in one of the games there in Philly, he had a home run.
Yeah.
In their win, he had a home run, but it's like he strikes out more than many of the others do.
Yeah.
So it's just, that's, one good thing about that second game is obviously Jesus Luzardo, we talked about in the first game, but they beat Aaron Nola.
Right. Yeah.
And, they took it to him. So that's a good thing. You're hitting the good pitchers, and, Luzardo's a good pitcher. It just was a surprise how dominant he was.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So the Sunday game, it's raining in Philly. It didn't seem like it was super hard rain because they didn't call it. But Tyler Glasnow, holy cow. I don't know. Did he forget? He could not pitch. He only pitched 2 innings in this game. The Dodgers lose this game 8-7. They do try to come back, but it's too late. And Glasnow said he just didn't have it. He had no grip on the ball because it was wet. He had issues with the rosin. Obviously it was wet, but the mound was muddy. It was needed to be raked. It needed, they need to put sand down, whatever they do, or dirt down. And the Dodgers didn't do that. And of course on Twitter, they're like, oh, guess what? Tyler Glasnow's out. When between innings, they'll come out and fix it for the Phillies pitcher. Well, they did, but that's because the Phillies asked him to. The
Right,
Dodgers
which-
could have done the same thing, but they
Mhm.
didn't because Dave Roberts said, "Oh, well, he wasn't slipping." Uh,
Yeah, but there's
okay.
obviously something's not right.
Right. And they pulled Tyler Glasnow out. He had 2 innings pitched, gave up 2 hits, 5 runs,
Well,
5 walks.
the 5 runs
Oh, yes.
he probably would have gotten anyway,
Yes.
but
It
he
was
didn't give up the
courtesy of.
ball that got him
Exactly.
the rest.
Right.
You
But
know,
he
I think
still,
at the time when he went out, how many people were on base?
I think the bases were
Was
loaded.
it loaded when he left?
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, he earned it. 5 walks, 2 strikeouts, then they take him out. Alex Vesia comes in, throws I don't even know, like 86, I don't how 86 mile per hour, and is it a fastball even? Right down the middle.
That's like a changeup.
Yeah, it's not even. Nick Castellanos connects, and it's a grand slam. And I think at that point it was like 6-2.
Mhm.
But as a Dodger fan, you're like, okay, it's 6-2. It's still early in the game. They can come back, and like they did attempt, with the 8-7 loss.
And Teo, very next inning, Teo leads off the inning with a home run.
Right, he had 2 in this.
Like,
I mean, I think he was really trying to carry the team.
Doubled a couple innings later.
Yeah.
To drive in Tommy Edman, bring him within 2.
Yeah, I mean, he was really working it. And yeah, but the Dodgers end up losing this series to Philadelphia, which seems to be, I'm like, when was the last time they won a series against Philadelphia? Because it seems like they don't always play well against Philly, especially in Philly.
Certainly wasn't sunny.
It was not.
In Philadelphia.
It was not. And then the people are like, "Oh, the Dodgers, they're such babies, blaming it on the rain, and they're not used to it, and it never it never rains in LA." It does, but
not during baseball season.
Yeah. I mean, I think they had like 1 rain out, and it was how many years?
Yeah, how many years ago did we have a rain out here in at Dodger Stadium? No, it's true though. It never rains in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
That's true, but it does rain there, and sometimes that does affect you, especially early in the season, because as we'll see when they're in DC,
mm-hmm.
weather kind of was actually described them and their bats there. Now, before we get to the DC series, we do need to quickly address how things went down. The Dodgers leave Philly, go to DC. So they leave Philly on Sunday. They are invited Monday morning to the White House.
Mm-hmm.
And as a team, if we talked about it last week, Stan Kasten said we talked about it as a team. Then there were all the conversations. Well, the last time that Mookie could have gone under the same president, he decided not to.
Mm-hmm.
Mookie did go this time. And I think there was from what I understood, there was 1 or 2 exceptions. One we know was Freddie Freeman, because he didn't travel with the team. Right. And he was actually supposed to talk on behalf of the team.
Right. He was the representative.
Went to Clayton Kershaw did it instead.
Mm-hmm.
And he did it the last time they were there in 2021. So he didn't go there. And then I thought I heard that Tanner Scott, for some reason, wasn't able to make it. But then everything else I've heard since then is that the whole team made it. But Mookie said,
Tanner Scott, I guess he could have gone, but he wasn't part of the.
Well, I know, but
World
the whole
Series,
team doesn't matter. The team
I
did.
know.
Not invite him. Well,
Yeah, say
that would have been
sorry.
true. That would have been
You were
true of him and Kirby Yates and Blake
sorry.
Snell and Roki Sasaki. You know,
Well,
all these
I
guys
don't remember seeing them,
they
but
signed. I don't know if he was there or not. I just that was one thing I heard, but really the only one that they said whole team went.
right.
And Mookie said, I didn't. I went because this isn't about me. He said last time, instead of about being about our team, I made it about me. And he said, I've grown up since then, or matured, or whatever he said, and it's about the team. And he went, and so I'm smiling and hanging out. The only one that probably had that wasn't like just okay, we're here, we're happy, this is cool. That had like an ear to ear grin throughout the whole time was Blake Trinan.
And yeah, he was super excited. And then President Trump mispronounced his last name. That had to be.
I heard him play on the radio.
Trainin or something like that.
Trainin. I heard on the radio they kept playing how the president said Shohei Ohtani, and you can think if you put Trump's voice in your head, and then the way Shohei Ohtani,
Yes.
it was like I gotta find it. It was hilarious, and so
and then when because he said something about several of the members of the team, and he shakes Shohei's hand, and he's like, man, he's like a movie star. And he said that about all of the guys, like, wow, this is like a good looking team. Like they're just, yeah. So
my favorite thing was they're showing he's, as Trump is wont to do, he's going on about something completely unrelated to the Dodgers visit, something about how eggs have dropped in price.
Yes.
But it's funny because like, I don't know how much Shohei or Yoshi listening in, but they go to Yoshi and he's kind of like, what's this guy talking about?
Right. Or does he know?
We don't know. Does he know what he's talking about? I don't know how much English he knows.
Right. I think maybe Shohei, I think, knows more, but yes, but he did have a look like, what is happening? What is going on?
What in the world?
Yeah, I think all of the, as you said, the team went. They all said that they had a really good time. They went in the Oval Office. So, I mean, I know there are a lot of people, and you had said there's a lot of people that are like, I'm not going to watch the Dodgers anymore. Can't be, fan of the team because they went to the White House. And I like, well, you probably really weren't a fan of the team before, like if that's your reasoning, because in 4 years we'll have another president, and you may not like that president either, whoever it is, and it's like crazy.
And regardless of what happens at the end of that or any time, have you only been a Dodger fan since he's been in office,
right?
Or have you been? I've been an Angels fan and a Dodgers fan for the majority of my life, maybe all but 2.5, 3 years at that. And that was just because I probably was a fan, just not fully conscious of my fandom at that point at 2.5 years old, 3 years.
Right. Exactly.
But, I mean, we spend our lives, we're more connected to that, and our political views or who's in office they're going to change throughout life. How I felt when I was 20 is different than how I feel now.
Right. Well, and
you and I know we've had conversations where one of us will say something, the other one will be mad about what the other one said. Didn't ever stop us from being, because obviously we're siblings, but it's just that idea of now, does it matter the same way? How does it affect you? When you're younger, it probably didn't affect you. What you thought you were upset about didn't affect you the way that you thought it did, but you're more passionate about it. Finally, you get to a point and you say, whatever. And, Blanca used to have one of her bosses said in dealing with kids.
Mm-hmm.
That when you look at taking things away from them, like a trip or an experience, you have to look. Are you stopping them from going to Disneyland that they can always do some other time? Or are you taking away something that they may never get to do again, or could be life altering?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about that when I thought about this. Why is anybody upset? If you got a chance to go to the White House, regardless, if I got an invitation, regardless of who the president is, I'm going to go.
Oh yeah, me too.
You get to meet the president.
Yeah.
You get to go to the White House, and you probably get to get a better tour than if you go and visit it normally. Which, are they
Right.
even doing tours anymore? I don't know.
think so. I think they are back to doing
So-
tours there. Yeah, no, I think Clayton Kershaw said it's an honor to be invited to the White House and to meet the President of the United States. And I think, again, that's the key, is it's the White House and the president, and it doesn't matter who the president is. It may never happen again. Some of these guys, it may be the only time. Who knows?
Yeah, very well. I mean, if they're not there next year, if the Dodgers win it again and they don't get it, or if it's a couple of years and the Dodgers do it again, they may be at another team.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that like a lot of stuff, once everything settles in, it's much ado about nothing, and people just want to be upset about something. I understand the optics of it, that people see Trump and his agenda and all that as being counter to what the Dodgers seem to have always stood for. But at some point, and they went as a team, and that meant anybody who, could have been adversely affected by, or have, a different idea about things politically. And that was not, everything doesn't have to come out to be political or, whatever. Anyway, let's get back to baseball.
Yeah.
Although, and this was one thing people said after this first game, people were saying, this is punishment for going to the White House.
Yeah, well, they can think whatever they want, but the Dodgers just weren't, first.
I don't know. It seemed to carry water when you think about it, because why else did they fall apart like they did?
Right. Well,
I don't know.
I'm
just wondering.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, maybe they shouldn't have gone, and maybe they, but the Dodgers played the Nationals. We learn that Blake Snell has shoulder inflammation and is on the IL, so that's not good news. And Shohei, though, shows up in this game 3 for 4. Was he a double shy
of the cycle?
Dodgers have 2 errors in this game, and I keep mentioning the errors because this is a big deal. We've got Andy Pages, who had played well last season, but in the outfield, he's made some defensive errors. He's dropped the ball, and he wasn't hitting. And but he wasn't the only one. I mean, there's just been some, I think, just sloppy, where they're just kind of sloppy in their play, and they're not focusing on the fundamentals, which is what they did last season. You can't get away from the fundamentals. Dustin May pitches this game, looks good, 6 innings, did give up 3 hits, 3 runs, only 1 strikeout, 3 walks, but it was Banda who came in, and then Sauer, what's his name?
Matt Sauer.
Yeah, thanks. And Banda gave up 2, and Sauer gave up 1. But the Dodgers just, they, other than Shohei, they end up losing the game, like I said, 6 to 4. So you're like, okay, 6 to 4. But they just come out of, losing a series in Philly, and you're thinking, these are the Nationals. What?
All right,
What's
once
going
we're done
on?
talking about the games, I will tell you my theory,
Okay.
which I had mentioned during the Angel segment.
Yeah. Okay. So with Snell out, he misses his start, and they're like, who are they going to call up? Robleski is called up. And the only reason that he was called up is because he was supposed to start. He was the next in rotation in Oklahoma City. So he comes up. He has pitched in the majors before, I think maybe in 12 games. Nothing really to write home about, but 5 innings, 8 hits, 8 runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, but 2 home runs. And James Wood, just of the Nationals, just had the Dodgers number that night. He had 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. And I mean, Andy Pages did hit a home run. And Kike hit a home run.
This time it looks like more offense from the bottom and not as much from the top. I mean, the top, you had Shohei, Mookie, both with hits. Miguel Rojas, who came in to replace Mookie, had a hit. And then Teo had a hit. Otherwise, for the most part, and then you get to the bottom. Pages had 2 hits. Muncy, Max even had 1, but and then Kike's hit was the other home run, but it just wasn't enough for that 8-2 loss.
Yeah, and the one thing too is, I don't know if you saw this play, but it was the pitcher was a pop up, and he's looking. Pages is on first, and he's looking before he catches the ball. He's looking over at first, and he actually doesn't catch the ball, and it drops. However, there's no replay on that.
Right.
So the umpires get together, and they're like, no, he intentionally dropped the ball. So Pages is out, but Barnes, who was at the plate, Austin Barnes, he takes first. But that's the one thing is I was trying to figure out why Pages in that situation was off the bag, because that's one thing, like he could have, tagged up, whatever, because he would have been out anyway. He would have made an out. But it was interesting when you do see the replay, he didn't catch the ball because he wasn't paying attention. Right. But the umpires are like, nope, he did it on purpose. So we're like, okay, thanks. Yeah, we'll go with that. Maybe they were drinking with the umpire that was going to be with in Detroit.
We'll talk about that in Around Baseball. And we'll clue you into what we were talking about. So here we are. Yeah. 2 games down, and what's that? A 4-game losing streak?
4 games. Yeah. So.
Or no,
3 game. 3 game. 3 game
because
losing
they lost. They won the middle one of the Philadelphia series.
Right, but they have dropped in the standings. They were sitting on top of first place, and it's like, what is happening? This is horrible.
When you look, it is both their 2 biggest rivals are ahead of them.
Yes.
And that's the thing, though, is like you look around the league, nowhere was that happening other than the NL West, where you had 2 teams undefeated for quite a while.
Right.
And then the Giants with 1 loss. And then as the Dregs lost 1, and then the Dodgers lost 1, and then the Dodgers just lost 1 more than these guys. And that's allowed that to happen. We know it's a long season, but it's just crazy how these 3 teams, it could make for, and even the Diamondbacks are above 500. The only team under 500 in there is the Rockies, which isn't a surprise.
Not a surprise.
They have such terrible ownership there.
Oh, yeah.
That it's even beyond. I mean, at this point, at least Artie says, we're in first place.
Yeah.
And the Angels are looking okay. But so here's my deal, unless you have something else about the series.
Well, we can talk
we got
about
today's.
We got one more game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Dodgers, Landon Knack is pitching, and
Well, no, this
it's
is
going
the
to be
thing
a
that I
bullpen
want.
game.
What's that?
It's going to be a bullpen game.
Yeah, I just was like, I mean, I get it. You can just let everybody have and then go, but isn't Blake Snell the only one that's out?
Yeah.
So why are we already throwing a bullpen game, or why are we calling up Landon Knack
Mm-hmm.
to pitch there? I just didn't get. You used to be able to look at. I know I used to buy tickets for when the Texas Rangers were coming to Anaheim, so I
Yes.
could see Nolan Ryan pitch, and
Yes,
I
absolutely.
could pretty much predict what game he was going to pitch. It
Mm-hmm.
got to a point where things were changing around a little bit that I would just buy the series, tickets for each game. But you used to be able to set your clock by who was coming up on the rotation.
Right.
And you can't do that anymore. Because I'm like, wait, why are we getting an extra day of rest here somewhere for somebody, which is fine, but it just kind of threw me off.
Yeah.
Right.
So you've got, let's see here. They've got a 5-man rotation, and so it's Blake Snell, and then Yoshi, Sasaki, and Tyler Glasnow, and then Dustin May.
Okay. So who didn't take their spot this time? Dustin May?
No, he pitched.
Okay. Well, who comes up? So Roboleski pitched for Snell.
For Snell.
So Yoshi didn't pitch.
Yoshi didn't pitch. They gave him
an
extra. So he must be,
he'll pitch,
I'm sure, pitch
versus the Cubs on Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's fine. I just was like, for Yoshi, that makes sense because giving him an extra day off, that works, as they're still trying to build him up.
Yeah. So,
all right. So day game, getaway game for.
And it's, you had mentioned the weather in DC.
Oh, yes.
And in that 8-2 loss, the Dodgers looked very out of place. They were uncomfortable. The temperature was 38, but with the wind chill, it was 31. And they had a freeze warning where the temps were going to drop down into the 20s. So, tough for the Dodgers because they're not used to playing that.
They were talking about it on the radio that it's like, it's cold out there when the umpires are all wearing gloves.
Well, gloves and gaiters and
so
all of this.
It's kind of like
stuff.
If you saw the Angels in St. Louis, a lot of the St. Louis players were wearing those like the ski mask kind of things, and there was 2 or 3 of them, including Arenado. So they play the afternoon getaway game, and
it's 52 degrees and sunny, just since we're on the weather kick.
Right.
And the Dodgers pull it out. They win. So it's a happy flight home. And they win 6-5. And as I said, this becomes a bullpen game, which I think it always was going to be. Landon Knack, but maybe they wanted him to pitch longer because he only goes 2 1/3 innings, gives up 4 hits and 5 runs in those 2 1/3 innings. So I'm thinking they probably want him to go a little bit longer before they dipped into the bullpen. However, when they did, Dreyer, Banda, Yates, Scott, and Vesia all, and Trinan, add Trinan in there, all held them to no runs. Trinan was the only one that gave up a hit, but they didn't score. So, 6-5 Dodgers. And this is the thing, though, is the Dodgers were up 4 in the first, and then the Nationals come back and score 3. And then in the third, it's, I think it was it tied They tied it up, and then there was another. Then they got a go-ahead run. Then they were ahead 5-4. So anyway,
and it stayed that way for quite a while.
Yep.
And then I think it was Teo who tied it up with a home run. And Teo had a big day today, which was good. He was 2 for 5, 3 RBIs. Shohei got on, scored 2 runs, 2 for 4. Mookie 1 for 4. Tommy Edman 2 for 3, and a couple of RBIs for him. In fact, in that first inning, he drove in both Shohei and Mookie. And then Pages with a second home run in as many days.
Yeah, and I wonder, a lot of talk has been Pages needs to go. He needs to go back to Oklahoma City. Was he hearing that, and did it give him some inspiration to do better?
Maybe. And, word is Haesung Kim has been doing pretty well there in AAA. And when they decide to call him up, that means Edman goes to center field. Kim comes to second, and Pages goes to wherever Oklahoma City's playing.
Right. Yeah, the Oklahoma City, what is it? The Comets now.
Is that what it is? The Comets?
It's the Comets.
So the 89ers from back in the day.
Yeah, I love that. That's the best name. I love it. But anyway, so the Dodgers win the game and 6-5. So they don't have a great road trip. They had some sloppy baseball, not great offense. Do you blame it on? I keep thinking Milli Vanilli, blame it on the rain. Okay.
Yeah.
Blame it on rain, blame it on the cold, whatever it may be. Dodgers need to get a reset. And so winning this game is a good reset as they go home. Yes, as they go home and face the Cubs over the weekend, and then the Rockies come into town for 3.
All right, before we close out the Dodger segment, time for Player of the Week. Who you got?
I went with Roki Sasaki. I know, I only pitched 4 innings. However, I think that he's just going to get better.
Yeah, I think seeing the bright side. Each one has been better each time out, so that's important. And we got to remember, he's a rookie. And he's just learning. He's 23 years old. A lot of these guys that are 23 are still pitching in the minors.
Well, that, and he was pitching in the Japanese professional baseball, the Nippon League, and they're good, but it's different.
Right.
When you come here.
Yeah. Definitely different. I'm going to go with an old standby. Had a great series versus DC. Not, he was okay during Philly, but I'm going to go with Shohei. Especially that first game of the DC series. He was, things weren't going well, but he was trying to do what he could and almost hit for the cycle. So I'm going to give him that one as a gimme this week.
He's got to have to earn it next time. No, he did.
Yeah, he's like Shohei's getting to the point of the Eddie Murphy joke that he was talking about hanging out with Stevie Wonder. And it's like you should be impressed by Stevie Wonder and all that he's done. He's blind, and look at all the music. He goes, Stevie, you want to impress me? Take the wheel.
Yeah, that's right.
Show me how you can drive. That's Shohei's at that point. You want to impress me? You got to do something completely over the top now.
Yes.
All right. And depth. If you listen to his teammates, they wouldn't be surprised if he did do something beyond what he's already done.
Oh, real quick before we go from the Dodger segment, I don't know if you've watched some Dodger games, but they have so they always do the Freddie, which is this like little dance move that Freddie Freeman did at a Dodger Foundation event. And I guess everybody thought it was hilarious. And they're like, we got to do this. Well, they still do that. But now they're doing, it's kind of like in Pulp Fiction, where Uma Thurman is doing the thing with the eye. Well, that is because of Shohei Ohtani, because he is in a commercial for cologne, I believe. And he has the cologne in his hand and he takes it across, like kind of in front of his face. And so now that is the new part of they're adding on to the celebration.
And then once again, didn't talk about the changes in Dodgerland. So we'll do that next week.
We promise.
And depending on how things go, we may have to bring you up to date on what we think is the curse affecting the Dodgers. All right, it's time for Around Baseball. Hopping in the bullpen cart to take a little ride around and see what's happening in other parts of the game. And as always, we start off with the MLB's Players of the Week.
So this is an interesting one because you have two guys who were teammates who now play one plays in the same league, one plays in the other league, and they're both Players of the Week. So we'll start with the newly minted and acquired Alex Bregman, who now plays for the Red Sox as the third baseman. He is the AL Player of the Week. He hit .407 with 5 doubles, 2 home runs, and 10 RBIs. So he's loving it in Boston. And really, he always has hit well there. So it made sense that, if that's a place he's going to go, that'd be a good place. Well, they were a little
worried because he's typically a slow starter.
Yeah, but he's liking it.
He's not now.
No.
So there you go.
Then going to Chicago to Wrigley Field, his former teammate Kyle Tucker is the NL Player of the Week, and he had batted .391, 3 home runs, and 8 RBIs. So they both are enjoying the new confines of their new teams.
They've made the friendly confines for themselves.
Yes.
All right. So we're just talking about the Dodgers and the Nationals, and I mentioned way back in the Angel segment that I have a theory of why this happens sometimes when you have teams like this. The Nationals are, for the most part, a young team. James Wood, C.J. Abrams. James Wood's a rookie. C.J. Abrams, more or less, is a rookie. Just coming up last year. So the interesting thing that I see at the beginning of a lot of years is that these young teams come out of the gate hot. Because you got young kids, they're all fresh.
Yep.
They've not been towards the end of the season when they're dying because they've never played this many games at this intensity level. That's when you'll see it. I mean, but these guys are all trying to make a name for themselves. They're trying to stay with the club. They know that all it's going to take is a little bit of a slump and they could find themselves back in the minors. That's the thing that I think. And I think that the Angels are in a similar spot. That, yes, they have a lot of veterans there to help. Travis d'Arnaud, been catching him, and Kyle Hendricks seem to be matching up. But the core of this team, like they're chomping at the bit to get Zach Neto back. And like you said, there are things that he has to do to get there. He hasn't played, 2 full games yet. He has played 7 innings in a game, at short and not just DHing. But there's so many different little things they do. But they expect him to come back sometime by the end of April, provided there's no setbacks. But there's him, Shanuel, Ohapi. You've got Kyron Paris, who's come in and picking things up. Jose Soriano has been pretty much the best pitcher they have. This season and part of last season. So it's all a young team. when you look at Taylor Ward, who's still relatively young, and think he's the veteran or one of the veterans,
Right. Yeah.
then and you do have, but you got Rengifo, who's been there for a little while, but he's still a younger guy. Kevin Newman, we know, is a veteran. Tim Anderson, been around for a while. These are guys that, and these are guys they wanted on that team to help build with the others, the other players, and help teach them and help. Kenley Jansen has been pitching well. So, and they're, like I said, they're doing it without a lot of strikeouts, but these young teams out the gate in a hurry because these young guys have something to prove. The older teams, the more experienced teams are like, yeah, I mean, we want to win. We don't want to lose games, but what is it that Major League, and it's the very first game, and Wild Thing sitting there tossing the ball up, Rick Vaughn tossing the ball up, and then here comes all of a sudden, like last week, I can't remember the names, Jake Taylor, Tom Berenger, he comes over and like grabs the ball and he goes, we got 162 of these to go. It's like, just chill.
Right. Yes.
It's
Calm down.
not going to be, our season isn't going to be made. It could be broken early on because sometimes you get into something and it just doesn't come. But my theory is that the DC, very well, they could take off. The Angels could have a pretty good first half too. We'll see. But there's too many things that have to go right. And we know with teams like that, especially younger teams, that when things start going wrong, it's hard to get everybody back on the right page to get through that. So,
yeah,
that's all I got to say about
all right. Well, there are new City Connect uniforms for several teams, but one was debuted this week by the San Francisco Giants, and I wasn't impressed with their first go around, their first try, I guess, at the City Connect with the orange and the white with the supposed to be fog.
Right.
But then they come out with something totally not, I mean, I don't know. There's nothing special. And as much as they try to tell, say, oh yeah, this is why, and this is the reason we're doing this, I still am not convinced that, I don't know. City Connect is, I don't know if you've seen it, we need to post it. But according to the Giants and their fashion report for their City Connects, the New York Giants wore the color violet from 1913 to 1917. I was
going to say till 70.
Yeah, no.
I never saw them wearing that.
17 in a nod to NYU, New York University. Mm-hmm. Decades later, purple became the color of San Francisco's counterculture. Is not my words. This is their words.
Right. Haight-Ashbury.
Right. So it's not a throwback. It's a remix, is what they're saying. So it is inspired by the musical history of San Francisco. The new uniforms have black tops with white sound waves and orange and purple gradients on their jersey sleeves. Chest script and the bill of their cap have the same gradient color. The purple is meant to evoke Fillmore's stage lights. And as you mentioned, Haight-Ashbury's, the posters. Though, as I mentioned, it also pays homage to the New York Giants who wore purple. And the Giants right-hander Jordan Hicks said, real praise here. I don't mind it. It's not. It's nice. So, high praise there. The City Connect jersey also includes a glove patch on the sleeve, which is inspired by warped 1960s gig posters and embodies San Francisco's movement, creativity, and their rebellious spirit. The Giants' chess script is also influenced by psychedelic posters and is meant to flow like the rhythm and the energy of the city.
So if they replace the lights at Oracle Park with black lights, will they all glow?
Glow, yeah, that would be cool. See, that's what they should have done. And then they could have played in the dark, and then because they had that one ball game where they played in the dark and they had the glow in the dark baseballs and the guys in their cleats, and they could have had lava lamps as a giveaway.
The giveaway, yeah.
Why don't they call us? Nobody calls us about our ideas. It's really
call us about anything.
I am about anything. That's true. So they're out there, and they debuted them on Tuesday night, but they lost to the Reds in their first game in those unis. They're going to continue to wear these uniforms during Tuesday home games and on their City Connect concert games. So I guess they're going to have, when there are concerts at the stadium, they will also wear them there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know that the Nationals have some new ones, and people are like, they should have just stuck with the pear blossoms or whatever those are, uniforms.
Yeah, as they come out, there was, kind of a leak, and there were nothing special.
Well, if you look at the picture on the DC, on the Nationals page of Josh Bell, his picture's on there, and then they have the other picture, and he's wearing the City Connect hat in that, or helmet or whatever, in that picture. So I don't know. Have they already put theirs out there? I thought the Giants were the first one to debut. The rest were just
I thought
leaked.
so too. Yeah, I hadn't heard.
Wow. Fashion expert. Get on that.
I will, but I think this is their first one. I do want to mention real quick Bob Melvin, who is the manager of the Giants. He said, "I like them. They're very colorful. I just liked a little bit more of the contrasting colors compared to maybe the last ones with the, just the white and the orange and the fog." He says, "In San Diego, I had some interesting ones too." Okay. He said there's a little Grateful Dead involved, and he says that everybody should appreciate that. So
right. So the Deadheads are happy with that, then that's cool.
Right.
Why not just go like full tie-dye then?
Right. That would make total sense for a City Connect for San Francisco, especially if you are trying to bring in all those influence, Haight-Ashbury, the Fillmore, the psychedelic lettering and all that. Yeah, tie-dye would be awesome.
Have we could have the Grateful Dead night.
Oh yeah.
Everybody gets a free hit of acid on the way in.
Well, I don't know about that, but
we're trying to get that whole get some LSD.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you really want to get
they
to
were
the
big
vibe,
on.
That's true.
So
come to the ballpark and drop some acid.
That's right. Have an experience. Take a trip, man. Take a trip. All right. Still early in the season, some surprises. Chicago Cubs lead the NL Central. After starting off 0-something, they're now up to 9-6. Really only most teams are, the Phillies. A lot of teams are playing that 500 or real close to it. The Phillies are 7-3. The Mets right behind them at 8-4. The Rangers are 9-4, while the Angels are 7-3 as of recording. So, but a lot of them are real close, 7-5. the Yankees we thought were going to go undefeated with their torpedo bats, and that's all kind of died down. When's the last time you heard something about a torpedo bat?
Just now.
It was gone as fast as it came.
You said it. That's the the first time I've heard it since we talked about it.
So did you want to talk about your new segment here?
Oh yeah, because it really does go with the wheel of IL. So we got the wheel of extensions, and we do have an extension.
Give me some more years and a ton of cash as well. Give me some more. Sorry, that's all I could think of just in short notice.
It was good.
Money. It's a hit.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Money. So we talked about one guy. Everybody been talking about one guy, and didn't think anything was going to get done. In fact, all the experts said he's probably going to go see what he can get in free agency.
Right. However, a deal was done, and that would be Toronto Blue Jays first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He gets what he wants, a $500 contract. $500
because he just loves to play the game. He doesn't care about
he doesn't care about money.
He just wants to play the game.
$500 million over 14 years.
See, and you thought
the
that
million was
Shohei
implied.
only taking $2 million was something. This guy, he's outdone them all.
Right. And this is the interesting part about this contract. The Blue Jays are going to pay him $325 million of this deal as a signing bonus.
Oh.
And the remaining $175 million will be paid in salary. And this is from Ken Rosenthal, who he said that both the signing bonus and the salary is going to be distributed in varying annual amounts over the 14-year term of the deal. And he also went on to say that baseball's collective bargaining agreement does not restrict the amount a team can include in a signing bonus. The bonus, however, is included in the calculation of a player's average annual value for luxury tax purposes. So this is interesting too, what Vladdy said. He talked to reporters and he said he was asked, like, what advice did your Hall of Fame dad give you? And he said his dad told him, trust God. My dad told me to trust God and to get the last penny that I could from the organization. So, yeah. The one thing about this contract, though, is, and I like Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but I don't think he's worth $500 million. I think he's more in the maybe $300 million range, 350. And what this is going to do is it sets, and I mean, I guess it started, kind of with Shohei, but I just don't think that you can compare any of the guys that have since signed these multi-year contracts to Shohei. There's no comparison. But you have like Juan Soto, who got what, 780 million, and totally
765, but it could end up being
more, right?
At or a little over 800.
Yeah, and he's not that great.
Same playing defense.
Oh no, I saw him kick the ball the other day.
Yeah, he booted a couple of them.
Yeah, so that means that any other first baseman or any other player is going to be like, well, what about that guy? He got this.
Well, that's what always happens.
Right.
Is these guys go out and somebody will sign, and it happens a lot with pitchers. So somebody
Mhm.
will sign a 500 pitcher, as far as like a record goes, or somebody who's middle and they got a 4.5 ERA, and all of a sudden, well, that's not bad, and they overpay him, and then the guy who's actually better than him says, I want more than that, and so they got to
Mhm.
pay that guy more, and it just doesn't. I get to some extent why some teams don't engage, but I don't think that the Dodgers have if somebody's asking for more than what they really think that they're worth, they just let them go. And a few
Yeah.
other teams do that. Not to say they haven't ever overpaid for somebody,
Right.
but they it's just you gotta spend money to make money, and they've definitely been doing that, and they're making a lot of money. And in fact, we talked about the impact of Shohei during there in DC, right behind home plate where they've got ads. There was one in Japanese.
Yes, I noticed that. I noticed that right away.
Yeah, it's
I
like
was like,
they
oh,
buy to the state, the advertisers that want the Japanese advertisers or the Asian advertisers are going to the stadiums where he's going to go play in order to get the advertisements in. So
exactly.
there it is. Well,
Exactly.
the one thing, is there any other extensions that you wanted to chat about you didn't talk about last week
No, I
on
don't
the
think
wheel
so.
here?
Not on this wheel,
Not on
but
this
on the
one?
next wheel.
Well, then, why don't we go ahead and go next door to the big wheel? The wheel of IL. The wheel of IL. The wheel of IL. Wheel of IL.
All right. So last week he was on a different wheel, and that would be Ketel Marte, who has a $116.5 million extension with the Diamondbacks, but now he is on the wheel of IL with a left hamstring strain. Is on 10-day, but depending, hamstrings, they can be tricky.
Right. Could go.
So,
Yep.
We talked about Ronaldo Lopez. He had shoulder surgery, and now he's going to be out for 12 weeks
Ooh.
after that surgery. The Orioles' Zach Elflin is on the IL with a low-grade right lat strain. Red Sox catcher Connor Wong has a fractured left finger. White Sox Andrew Benintendi has an adductor strain. Starting pitcher Houston's Spencer Arrighetti, fractured right thumb. And this is an interesting one, and I couldn't find what is wrong with him because they just say he's on the IL. But Mark Canha is on the IL, and it just said he was injured. So I okay.
Just randomly, he's just injured.
Yeah. Okay, I found it. Left hip soreness. So I guess he tried to catch a ball at the wall and hit into the wall, most likely. So he's on the IL. I mentioned Freddie Freeman. He did not travel with the team on this road trip, as it was mentioned, and mainly that was because he had the swelling in the ankle. When you travel by air, you can get that swelling. So they didn't want to chance that. Blake Snell with the shoulder inflammation. Milwaukee's Nestor Cortez has left elbow pain, and he did get a shot of plasma-rich platelets into his elbow. So we'll see how that goes for him.
I don't ever get, how does that work?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to
do some
research.
To work.
Yeah, I mean, lots of players have had it done because they're like, oh, we're going to do this before, it seems like surgery is the next thing, but let's do this first. And then they always end up having surgery. So I guess we need to watch Nestor and see, is he going to be a lucky one and not have to have surgery. Twins starting pitcher Pablo Lopez has hamstring tightness, is on the 15-day IL. Their third baseman Royce Lewis also on the IL with a hamstring strain. This is your favorite New York Mets Jeff McNeil on the 10-day IL.
The whiny boy.
With oblique.
No. He doesn't get oblique status. Which side?
I don't know. Didn't say.
I hope whatever it is that he has going on keeps him out for most of the season.
Yeah.
Gives Jeff's a bad name.
Right? You
Oh,
give Jeff a bad name.
Your future is bleak because of your oblique.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how bad it is because they're already saying that he may be on a rehab assignment, but yeah, we'll see. Now, San Diego's Jake Cronenworth is listed as day-to-day with rib soreness. Fernando Tatis Jr. is also listed day-to-day with shoulder soreness. And a guy who has been the talk of the Padres and just came out like gangbusters last season and recently signed a 9-year, $135 million extension with the Padres. Jackson Merrill is on the IL with a hamstring strain.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we got 2 day-to-days and one that's actually on the wheel.
On the wheel.
Seattle's Victor Robles has a small fracture in his left shoulder. He is going to be out for 12 weeks. St. Louis catcher Ivan Herrera will be out 4 weeks with a bone bruise on his left knee. And he'd been hitting like crazy for the Cardinals. How about this guy, Tampa Bay Rays Josh Lowe? He has an oblique injury.
Oblique? Oh, the horror of my oblique. It's not unique. My sides, they creak because of my oblique.
What is that? That's going to be on volume 3 of your
maybe, yeah. I just came up with that one.
That's awesome. I love it. And last but not least, a Rich Hill injury for Rangers, a Jack Leiter, 15-day IL with a blister.
Blisters are better than cheaters.
That's it. And
as one of our past episodes was titled.
That's right. And that will do it for the Wheel of IL. So we got to watch these extensions because one week you're on the Wheel of Extensions. The next week you're on the Wheel of IL.
Yeah, see if there's a correlation there.
That's right. We're gonna track that data.
But then we'll probably forget to tell you about it.
We probably will. Yeah.
That's probabably
we like
the case.
To tease. And then we forget.
I promise next week we'll talk about something because we were talking about the Dodgers and things that changed. So yes. We got to talk about that next week.
I'm going to write it in my notes right now.
Good idea.
And maybe that will just be segment 1.
Right.
And then we talk.
It should be.
Let's do that.
Look at that and some other folks that changed teams. Just kind of rundown, an overview of it all. Hey, I did share my theory about young teams. So tease that. And then there was a payoff for it. Recently, I was reading on The Athletic and I was reading, what's his name? Jason Stark and his MLB Weird and Wild Week.
Yeah.
And there was some on here that, and I'm trying to find it again, but about a cycle, player hitting for the cycle from the Cubs. And it was interesting because this is the first time that any Major League Baseball game has ever been played in Sacramento, where the A's are now playing until whatever happens with Vegas is corrected. While they were there, no Cub had hit for a cycle in 32 years.
Oh, wow.
And in fact, only one catcher on any team had ever hit for the cycle anywhere in the state of California. And that was 45 years ago with Charlie Moore. And he did that in Anaheim. But Carson Kelly, the Cubs catcher, wasn't alive 45 years ago to know that. So he decided he'd take it not only for the first game in a new ballpark that's never seen baseball before or Major League Baseball before, the Sacramento Park, Sutter Health or whatever they call it.
Right, yeah.
And he hits for the cycle in game 1 of that park. This is one thing that's really interesting is the A's played over 4,000 games in the Coliseum in Oakland. And any guesses on how many players, opposing players in those 4,000 plus games hit for the cycle versus the A's?
Ooh. I don't know. How many players hit for the cycle?
Visiting players.
Visiting players in 4,000 games at the Coliseum. I don't know. For some reason I want to say 2, but I'm sure it's more than that.
Don't be so sure. 0.
Really? Oh, 0. Holy cow.
Nobody had ever, and then the first game in Sacramento, the Cubs player nobody's hit for the cycle in 32 years for the Cubs, and nobody's hit for the cycle against the A's in over 4,000 games.
Wow.
Hit for the cycle.
Well, I was like, it can't be a big number because hitting for the cycle just doesn't happen that often.
Right.
And then I was like, at least, in that amount of games, maybe, 1, 2, but wow, 0?
Yeah, none. Goose egg. And then the last thing that we always tend to look at the beginning of the season, who hit the first home run of the season?
Of the domestic season?
Yes, the domestic season.
I don't know. Can you give me a hint? Kind of a clue? May I have the
Plays
pronunciation?
For the Pirates.
Plays for the Pirates.
Do you need to phone a friend?
I might. I'm just trying to go through Pirates. Ooh, that reminds me of something we need to bring up. I think is important. I'm gonna phone Google and ask Google, and I didn't even need to. Andrew McCutchen.
Nope.
It
was Nick Gonzalez, the second baseman, hit the first home run of 2025. Domestic home run.
Domestic. Okay.
Yeah, everything else was downhill from there. But
speaking of the Pirates.
Yes.
We need to bring this up. So, as we know, Roberto Clemente is synonymous with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And there's a statue of him outside, PNC Park. But on the right field wall, there was for several years now, it was his number, honoring his number 21. Actually had his name and his number. Well, I think most people just thought that'll be there forever. Well, apparently the Pirates said, oh no, it was never going to be there forever. They replaced it with an advertisement for an alcoholic beverage. So that did not go over well with fans and obviously with the Clemente family. And Roberto Clemente Jr. said that, the Pirates didn't even tell them that was going to happen. And their first response was, well, it wasn't, like I had said, it's not going to be forever. But the more, I think, not just Pirates fans, but I think just across baseball, that you would take down this iconic player who, like I said, is synonymous with the Pirates, and you just take his, the name, the number down off this wall, replace it with something like an alcoholic beverage ad. I mean, come on. The Pirates president, Travis Williams, said he took responsibility. It was an honest mistake, and he promised to restore the Clemente tribute. How was it an honest mistake? Like, that is not a mistake. Like, you made the decision to take that down and replace it with this, whatever cocktail ad. That's not a mistake. Like, that ad should have gone on the, somewhere else in the stadium. You're like, nope, it goes right there. So
right, of every place it could be. This
right.
is where it needs to go.
In addition to the Clemente controversy, the Pirates also face criticism for the removal and apparent disposal of fan-paid bucko bricks outside PNC Park, which were part of a program that allowed fans to purchase personalized bricks that would be placed on the main terrace of PNC Park.
Huh.
And the team said that they were exploring display options for the bricks, but pictures and videos showed the bricks were taken to a recycling facility.
Holy cow.
And
I always wondered about that because we have a brick at Anaheim Stadium that was bought as a gift for us.
right.
And we did the inscription. When we go, we stop by to see it sometimes, not every time, but sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like, what happens if they decide to change the whole front? What happens to those bricks? Do you get to come and get your brick?
Yeah, you would think, like,
I don't know.
because
I
you
just
pay.
have
I
one.
mean, somebody either as a gift, but it was paid for, so it's
Right.
your brick.
Right.
And so fans in Pittsburgh are not happy, and they have even started to chant a very familiar refrain: "Sell the team." So we may see
Of course.
some shirts, "Sell the team."
In
Yeah.
gold and black.
And the Pirates have come out and issued an apology to the Clemente family and the fans, stating that the removal of the tribute, was, they should have just said it was wrong, but they didn't. But it is going to be restored. And they also said that they will replace the removed bucko bricks in the near future. But how do they know? Like, were they all of them taken? And then, how do they know if there was something engraved on them? Are they going to engrave that back on? I don't know. I think they just have not started the series well, or the season well, with their fans. And which is, that's one of the stadiums I would love to go to watch a game, because it's it's a beautiful stadium. And when you have,
We might be able to get cheaper tickets now.
yeah, maybe. And that's the other thing with the Pirates, is that they are just, they've got this awesome pitcher in Paul Skeens, and they're down, they're tied with Cincinnati at 5-8. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously early in the game, but they didn't do anything either, and I've just wondered how long is Skeens going to be in Pittsburgh.
It's a good question. Well, before we park the bullpen cart, apparently, in order to be ready to call a game in Detroit, you need a few shots of Hennessy. Apparently, umpire Bruce Dreckman is outside the hotel that the umpires are staying in at 10 a.m. And like they always said, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. But he was taking some swigs from a bottle of Hennessy. before he was off to go call the Detroit game that day versus the Yankees.
Yeah. Versus the Yankees. He's like, I need some liquid courage to get through this game.
So I never heard anything else about whether that was entirely true. Also never heard anything else that, how did he do with his calls? Did it matter? So I guess he must have been okay.
Maybe, I don't know what his percentage is. So, it would be interesting, to see, did it get better? Because
maybe, what is that? People always say, oh, I drive better when I drink.
No.
But maybe he thinks he calls better games when he's drunk. And maybe he just thought that was what he needed to get through. Now, see, I could understand if he was in Pittsburgh or Colorado.
Yeah.
It's a little cold and those games could go on forever, especially if it was Colorado versus Chicago White Sox.
Oh, yeah. Imagine.
All right, that's it. We're parking the bullpen cart and calling it an episode. Make sure you check us out on our social media, SiblingRivalryBB without the A on Twitter.
And on Facebook and Instagram at SiblingRivalryBB with the A.
SiblingRivalryBB.com is our website, and you can check out the Fanatics link. Go buy yourself some gear, support the show. And next week, we will remember next week to talk about the changes that have happened in Dodgerland. We'll talk about, in fact, changes that happened across the board. And on the off season, we lost a few players, former players, and we'll talk about that as well. So until next week, go see some live baseball. Make sure you watch it, whether it's, this time of year, you should have Little League games going on. T-ball, whatever. College ball is in full swing. And, of course, the minor leagues and the majors. So until next time, hope you have a good week. And don't forget to swing away.